We're ready to begin tonight's City of Gardena regular City Council meeting for September 12th. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Noting the presence of all council members.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, do we have anything to report from closed session tonight?
No reportable action was taken.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we're going to begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. Immediately following that, I'm going to ask if everyone can continue standing for our invocation. Please stand.
Face the flag.
Put your right hand over your heart.
Ready, begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us go to our Heavenly Father in prayer. Holy and righteous Father, as we are before your throne of mercy and grace, we praise your name and we thank you for your Son, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. For it is in Jesus' name that we ask these favors and ask for forgiveness of our sins. Father, we thank you that we can be together at this location and that we can pray for our countrymen who have and continue to suffer under the devastation of the various hurricanes which have set upon this hemisphere as of late. Lord, we not only implore your blessings on our countrymen in Texas and in Florida and throughout the Southeast, but we pray also for those who are injured and distressed in those many Caribbean nations. And Father, we hasten to remember our neighbors to the south who have and continue to suffer from the recent destructive earthquake in Mexico and much of Central America. And so, Lord, we ask for your direction in finding ways to help our neighbors wherever they are. Help us think of this as an opportunity rather than a burden. And Lord, we pray for the leaders of this country and all those in government. We pray for the president and those members of Congress. We pray that you would guide them as they carry out their duties in charity, in strength, and humility. Also, Father, we thank you for this gathering here tonight, that you would continue to bless this forum. We pray for the wisdom and cooperation of Mayor Serta, along with the City Council and our entire city government. We are mindful, Heavenly Father, that there are many things that we have forgotten to pray for. And so we say, thank you, Lord, for your Spirit, and we pray that your Spirit would intercede for us for the things that we have not and cannot pray for ourselves. These blessings and all we ask in Jesus' holy and righteous name. Amen.
I'm going to ask our Pledge of Allegiance to please come back to the front here. Go ahead. So tonight's Pledge of Allegiance was led by three young men who are brothers. They go by Darren Baltimore, Dylan Baltimore, and Dustin Baltimore. All three of these, as mentioned, are brothers, and they all attend Chapman Elementary School. Darren is a fifth grader, Dylan is a fourth grader, and Dustin is a second grader. All three of them are participants in the after-school program at the Nakoka Community Center, which is sponsored by the City of Gardena Recreation Division. So first off, I'd like to ask you guys, who brought you guys here tonight? Was it Mom, Dad?
Both of them.
Both of them. Okay, where are they at? Let's give them a round of applause, please, for bringing them out tonight. And would any of you like to say anything? Doesn't matter. Any of you guys would like to say anything? Any questions you have for us tonight? Yes, no?
Thank you for inviting us here, and thank you for keeping our city safe.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else like to say anything, or are you going to speak for all the brothers? No? Okay. Well, we'd like to thank all of you guys for coming out and leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. You guys did a great job. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can take your seat now. And if the Reverend Lewis can please come back to the front. Tonight's invocation was led by John C. Lewis, who is a senior minister at Gardena Valley Church of Christ, located at 1842 West Gardena Boulevard. Minister Lewis has served as the senior minister of Gardena Valley Church of Christ since July 12, 2012. Although not a California native, he grew up in Los Angeles area where he attended Thomas Jefferson High School. During the Vietnam War, he served as an infantryman with the 101st Airborne Division of the U.S. Army. For the past 23 years, he has been a member of Gardena Valley Church of Christ and a resident of the city of Gardena. It was here that he and his late wife, Deborah, raised their two youngest of their 4 children. Minister Lewis attended El Camino College, earning an associate's degree in English, and then transferred to the California State University of Dominguez Hills in 2016, where he received a BA degree in history. Minister Lewis, would you like to say anything?
Yes, I would like to thank you, Your Honor, and the City Council for allowing me to come and lead prayer tonight. As you said before, I am the minister at the Gardena Valley Church of Christ. We're located on Gardena Boulevard, just across Western. I have some cards which I plan on handing out on my way out. But I just want to thank you again for allowing me to do this, and I just want to invite everyone who are here to join us for Bible study on tomorrow, Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and our worship service is on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. We're easy to find, and you are welcome to come. Thank you so much once again for this opportunity.
All right, thank you. Everyone, please give him a round of applause. So tonight we have a couple of presentations here. The first one being a certificate of commendation to bus operator Deborah Valerie. Is she here today? Please come forward here. And tonight's certificate of commendation is being presented to Deborah Valley. And this here basically states on there that this is an official acknowledgement and with a deep appreciation for the 26 years and 6 months of outstanding and exemplary service to the city of Gardena as a bus operator with the Transportation Department. And we, the members of the City Council and the City of Gardena, are pleased to present this special recognition to you for your longtime city service here. And we express our sincere and best wishes for an enjoyable and rewarding retirement, which was effective August 9th of 2017. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And would Mr. Cruspo, would you like to say anything as well? And then you can have the opportunity. Okay.
But
can you speak at the mic?
of course,
Thank you.
I'm trying to do Snapchat, FaceTime Live, all at the same time. But
He's going to Snapchat for you, I think. He
Oh.
was trying to get you.
We'll let the city
So-
we'll let the city manager do that while you're
Okay.
speaking. We try to stay up with social
oh,
media.
it's okay. I turned it off. Yeah. So Miss Deborah Valerie started in 1991, and then became a full-time operator in 1992. And a quick, brief highlight of her record. These were just some kind of the different highlights of words that were to describe Ms. Valerie. So she always carried herself with a professional attitude towards our customers. The compassion she displayed unto others was always exemplary. She demonstrates high standards of performance and is a true mark of a true professional. Displays a positive attitude in the workplace and towards her patrons, and then ultimately takes pride in her work and goes above and beyond to assist the customers. So for ultimately 26 years, she did that. So she is an exemplary example of what our employees need to model. So Ms. Valerie, congratulations today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. And Ms. Valerie, would you like to say anything?
I enjoyed working for the city of Gardena.
Okay. Go ahead.
That's all.
Okay. And again, we thank you for your time and your service here
Thank
and
you
how you
so much.
represented us here to our community. So if I could ask my colleagues if we could just take a quick picture with you, if that's
Sure.
okay.
Oh.
Okay, and we have one more certificate of appreciation tonight, and is Mr. Rosales here? Is Barbara Rosales here? No? No? Okay. Mr. City Manager, I'd like to push this to the next meeting because I'm sure she wanted to be here to receive this, so.
We'll notify her.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so let's move on to the next item, which is appointments. Does any member of the council have any appointments to any commissions, committees, boards, or council? Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead. Who's your appointment?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to nominate Mr. Gerlin E. Munoz to the Rent Mediation Board as a landlord representative since he's has so much real estate business in the city of Gardena.
Okay, so you've made a motion to appoint Mr. Munoz. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Medina and a second by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, so at this time, Mr. Munoz has been nominated as a Rent Mediation Board member, landlord representative, so congratulations. Next, we're moving on to the consent calendar. Does any member? No, Rent Mediation doesn't get sworn. Would you like to say something, sir? Right. So there is no swearing in for Rent Mediation Board. But would you like to say something, sir? Please just come to the mic, please. We ask that everyone come to the mic. That way you can hear it in the recording and on TV as well.
Thank you, Mayor Serta. I just want to thank the community for allowing me to serve the city of Gardena.
Okay.
Thank you.
Try it in the mic now.
Oh, to repeat myself? I just want to thank the community for allowing me to represent my city of Gardena.
Okay, thank you very much. Next up is the consent calendar. Does any member of the council wish to discuss any items separately? If not, can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar as it is?
So move.
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Medina and a second by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next is item number 7A, which is a Planning and Environmental Quality Commission action sheet. Item number 7A1, does any member of the council wish to call for a review? If not, we can just receive and file this item. Okay, so there's no review, so we're going to receive and file this item here. Next up is item number 7B1. Does any member of the council wish to call for a review? Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to call for a review for item 7B1.
Okay.
This item will have to come before the council, so we could take that up at the same time. Okay.
We're going to receive and file on this because it has to go before as well. Okay, so you
No
don't have
problem.
to appeal it then at that time. Okay, so we've gone through both those items there with Planning Commission. Next up is oral communication. And we have 8 speakers tonight. I'm going to read the first 2 here. The first one is Deborah Griffin, if you can start making your way forward. And the second one is Brenda Jackson. And I'd just like to remind everyone that you have 3 minutes to speak. When you see the amber light come on, that's alerting you that you've completed your 2 minutes. When the red light comes on, that will alert you that your time is up. And at that point, you can just finish your statement then. Okay? Hit the little button there. So there you go. Thank you. Go ahead.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Tasha Serta and the Gardena City Council. On June the 27th, 2017, I stood before you with 100% participation of signed petitions from the homeowners on Van Ness Avenue between 132nd Street and 134th Place, also 134th Place, 2200 block to the 2400 block west of Van Ness, and Mr. Steve Allen my co-partner, presented 100% signed petitions from the homeowners on Spinning Avenue between 132nd Street to 134th Place. We came together as neighbors and homeowners and followed guidelines given from the City of Gardena per Lieutenant Pendergrass. The Traffic Committee held a meeting on August 2nd, 2017. That meeting was a disgrace and a lack of truth for our requests and reasons for petitioning for parking permits. The petitions for parking permits involve homeowners on the west side of Van Ness only. Parking availability in front of our homes are the reasons. Safety from trying to cross the Van Ness freeway. Maintaining cleanliness from trash on the streets that are distributed there and discarded from unknown persons. Prevent damage caused from vehicles moved in and out throughout the night from unknown persons. The west side of Van Ness homeowners have spoken with 100% signed petitions to you which you possess. We ask that you process our permits as soon as possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Brenda Jackson, and then following that is Kimberly Haddon from Sarah High School.
Good evening, Mayor Tasha Serta and councilmen. My name is Brenda Jackson. I have been in the community for 27 years. Do you want my address? No? Okay. So I'm coming here for the same reason that the last woman was speaking. It was about the permits. Speak louder? Okay. I looked up the word community today, and it said community, public spirit, shared and common. When I used to think about Gardena, I used to think about our residents who cared about each other and worked together to make this a better community. It was our community. I can tell you, on our street, Delside, Haas, Cimarron, and 129th Street, we care about each other. We care about our sick, we care about our elderly, we make sure the people that are taken care of. We have parties. Yeah, we love to party. And then sometimes we have disagreements, but we always disagree. We agree to disagree in a respectful way. So on August 2nd, when I came here to the Parking Permit Committee meeting, that's what I was expecting. I was expecting to come here in a respectful way and think that everybody was going to speak their mind respectfully. Nah, that didn't happen. I thought that the panel that was up front was going to give us information on what we needed to do, thought we had completed everything we needed to do for parking permit. They were going to tell us yay or nay. And I believed that Gardena was going to do it in a very fair and impartial way. That didn't happen. What happened instead was we were confronted by neighbors who were angry towards us because they were told by employees of Gardena that we did not want anyone parking on our streets during the MLK parade, second time around, luncheon, dance classes, football, etc. There were so many groups that got up and said that they were told that we did not want them there. I've lived there for 27 years. That has never been an issue. Those groups have never been an issue. It became an issue when they put the skateboard park where they did. Why is it an issue? We have trash. We have sex in front of our house. We have drugs that are going on in the park all the time. They have tennis shoes that are hanging over the line. And yes, Mr. Tanaka, I know you know what that is because you were a police officer, so you know that when there's, tennis shoes over the line, it's saying, hey, notice, this is where we're selling drugs, and we have that all the time now. We never did. There was a gazebo that was built for the parents to sit there with their kids when they're at the little play park there. That's where they do all the drug dealing. Isn't that sad that I know that? Oh, it's time?
I need you to just kind of wrap it up here.
So anyway, I want you guys to be aware that there were employees that also came that night in uniform that were voicing their disgruntledness about us having parking permits. I think that was really ridiculous because are we paying for them to come here and say that? Were we also paying for employees to come down our street and take pictures of the cars that were parked on our street? And also, to let you know, there were people that came to some of the residents' homes before this meeting took place to find out what was going wrong and why we didn't want them parking on our streets. So much for animosity. People that work here in the city.
I'm gonna need you to wrap it up. I'm sorry. I'm gonna need you to kind of wrap it up.
Okay. All right. I just wanted you to know. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Next is Kimberly Haddon from Sarah High School, and then following that is Joyce Watanabe. I'm sorry.
Good evening, Mayor Serta, elected officials, council, and citizens of Gardena. I am proud to present to you the news and announcements from Sarah High School. On August 14th, we welcomed our first day of school for all students. And on October 7th, coming up from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., please join our incredible faculty, students, and administration to experience the Sarah Difference, educating and impacting the lives of young men and women all over the greater Los Angeles area.
Speak a little louder, please.
Oh, okay. Okay, I will. Let's see. I will do so.
Side voice.
All right. On Tuesday, July 25th, the Sarah community was informed of the passing of Mr. Norm Chavez. Mr. Chavez taught at Sarah High School for 24 years. He served as an educator for 35 years, including 28 years as an educator in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, and often taught summers in Belize. We will miss Norm Chavez dearly. Benjamin Ramos was recently appointed as our new marketing and admissions director. Mr. Ramos brings a wealth of educational and life experience to the job. He has worked in the field of education for over 25 years, and he has a background including as a teacher, counselor, director, and director of faculty of students and coaching. Musical arts. On July 10th, in a ceremony hosted by the City of Gardena, our band played, providing musical background in a rousing performance led by our director, Matten Daly, for some visiting dignitaries to our city. Athletics. ESPN ranks Sarah High School #2 in the country with Division I athletes, and we're very proud of that. Congratulations to our Sarah athletes. Definitely. And are you ready for some football? Well, Sarah had 7 athletes who played this past Sunday in various NFL games. So once again, congratulations to our Cavaliers. Dominique Smith, class of 2013, who was drafted from Sarah High School to the minors, was recently promoted and is now playing first baseman in the major leagues for the New York Mets. So congratulations, Dominique Smith. Awesome, awesome. This Friday, our football team has a bye, so we'll look forward to more announcements with what they are doing. Our track and field team, we have a scholarship coming up. Beverly Hills Charity Gala, scholarships for our student athlete program. Enjoy soft jazz, art, and wine. The directors of Simfros Entertainment cordially request the pleasure of your attendance to a special charity event in Beverly Hills to raise funds for our young athletes. To add excitement to the ceremony, special images of music icons Stevie Wonder, Alicia Keys, Prince, and sports hero Muhammad Ali will be unveiled. I have additional information and will share with the council. On behalf of our principal, Mr. Jeff Guzman, we thank you. Peace and blessings.
Thank you. Oh. Next, we have Joyce Watanabe, and after that, it is Benjamin Butler.
Mayor Serta and members of the Gardena City Council, I am Joyce Watanabe, a member of the Baha'i Faith in Gardena. I'm back with your party invitations. In April, I was here and said that 2017 is the 200th anniversary of the birth of the founder of the Baha'i Faith, Baha'u'llah. So the South Bay is having an event October 22nd, 2017, a Sunday afternoon. Every other Baha'i in the world is having a celebration that same day in October. To help you understand our name, a Christian is a follower of Christ, a Buddhist is a follower of Buddha, a Baha'i is a follower of Baha'u'llah. And just as Christ is not a name but a title, and Buddha is not a name but a title, Baha'u'llah is a title that means the splendor of God. The Britannica Book of the Year 1988 cited the global geographical establishment of the Baha'i Faith as second only to Christianity. The Baha'i Faith has been a United Nations NGO since 1948. The Baha'i holy places in Haifa and the Western Galilee in the Holy Land were placed on UNESCO's World Heritage List in 2008. Baha'u'llah's son was a knight of the British Empire in 1920 by King George V for his work in famine relief during World War I. So you might think you don't know us, but you know us. We are here among you. Everywhere you are, we are in every country of the world. And we're celebrating, as I said, the 200th anniversary of the birth of Baha'u'llah. If you please forgive the informality, it has your first name on the invitation because there wasn't room for the whole thing. On the back of the invitation, there's a list of the principles of the Baha'i Faith. If I might ask you to RSVP to Nancy by next week, and then I'll ask her for your response. So we want to make you a plate on October 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you. You can leave that with the clerk. Next, we have Benjamin Butler, and after that, Philip Suh. Hit the button. There you go.
Am I loud enough?
Yes, good.
Honorable Mayor and members of the council, I'm going to talk about the refuge and garbage behind the Green Dollar store. The alley over there is seems like it's a dumping area for trash, and it's at 147th and Crenshaw. I've spoken to the manager of the, what is it, the Green Store, and they're not moving on it. So I was wondering if the Gardena Council can write them a letter and ask them about cleaning up that alley over there. Moreover, across the street at 14626 Crenshaw, there's another building with a lot of trash in the alley. Right now, I took a bunch of pictures at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It looks like somebody broke some bookcases and other trash over there. It's laying all in the alley. I've called up 3 or 4 or 5 times to have this illegal dumping moved, and they say it takes about 3 days now to get it cleaned up. So it really makes the neighborhood very trashy, and I don't know why they dump it there all the time. But there's no, I don't have a name of the who owns the building at 14626 Crenshaw, but it's behind Poncho's. It's not Poncho, the restaurant. It's the big building behind there. They have some small businesses there. And that's all I got to have to say. But it was a pleasure to talk after somebody who was in 101st Airborne in Vietnam. That's why I want to tell you that now.
Okay, thank you. One question. The business, are you talking about Dollar Tree?
Where?
Is it Dollar Tree you're speaking of on 147th and Crenshaw?
Did I say it wrong? Hold it. Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we have that noted. Thank you.
Got that down?
We have that down. Okay.
Mayor, Joseph Cruz will talk to Mr. Butler and make sure that those items are taken care of.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next, we have Philip Suh, and then after that is Cheryl Sherman.
Turn it on. Turn it off.
So just speak into it?
Yes, you can just speak into the microphone.
Good evening, Your Honor and council members. I just came here want to suggest if we could build a calisthenics park at Mas Fukai Park on 158th and Normandy. Just wanted to see what the process would be to get pull-up bars and like a monkey bars kind of set up and parallel bars set up there. Thought came to my mind when I was watching American Ninja Warrior and just want to see what the actions would be to get that happening. And that's all.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Cheryl Sherman, and as she's coming forward, I just want to let everyone in the audience know that most of the time, we as a council don't respond to the questions or comments that are brought before us here during a city council meeting, but you can continue coming forward. But staff usually within the next week or so will get back to them by phone or letters to answer their questions. So it's not just going on deaf ears here. It's just our policy not to interrupt the speaker and or offer our suggestions at this time. This is your time to speak, and we give that to you. So it is being followed up. Ms. Sherman, go ahead.
Good evening, City Council. Thank you. Cheryl Sherman, Vice President of Friends of Gardena Willows Wetland Preserve. This coming Saturday, the Gardena Willows Wetland will be participating in the City of Gardena's Keep Gardena Beautiful Day. So if you would like to come and volunteer at the preserve, our hours will be 8 to 11, and then at noon you can join everyone over at Mas Fukai Park for lunch that the city will be providing. And we have plenty of work for every volunteer. I was there today for about 5 hours at the preserve, and I left lots waiting for our volunteers on Saturday. And I'm here to also make an announcement. We are looking for interested and willing to volunteer board members. If you've been contemplating and thinking about becoming a board member for a nonprofit organization, this is a volunteer position, non-paid, but well worth your time and energy, give us a call, email us. We have several things available, and we'd be interested in talking with you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. We do have one more speaker, Wanda Love.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. It's been a while since I've been here. I kind of miss you guys. I am here to talk about a couple of events that the Chamber has going on. The first one is we decided to do a hurricane donation drive, a citywide community hurricane donation drive. And I know that sounds like a lot, but both those hurricanes that just hit Texas and Florida is really personal to me. I have 8 siblings. 6 of my siblings was born in Jacksonville. My entire family is from the Florida area. Almost every one of those cities that got hit affected my family. My mom is in Texas. I have 2 sisters, 3 nieces, a nephew, and a brother that's in Texas. So both those hurricanes struck real close to home for me, so I felt compelled to do something. So I reached out to a lot of the businesses in the city in the last couple of days to see who would all be involved or want to get on board, and got a really great response. So I'm working on putting a couple of drive-through donation events together, similar to how they used to do the e-waste collection where the people kind of just drive through. I've talked to a couple of property owners that's going to allow me to store the collected items in one of the unused commercial buildings. It's outside of the city though, but I've got a lot of people that's going to get on board to volunteer to sort through. I'm looking to go to Texas personally in November. I got a feeling that by the Thanksgiving time season, holiday season hit, people are going to forget about the victims and kind of start thinking about their own holidays. And so I spoken to U-Haul. U-Haul is on board, and they said they were going to make sure that we had the trucks to drive down there. I wrapped my head around driving to Texas, but that 5-day drive to Florida is a whole different animal. So pray for me in that area. But that is one of the events that you guys are going to start hearing more about. I'm looking for the city to hopefully get involved in any way that you guys can support these victims, because it's a lot of them. And the next event that the Chamber has on the calendar is our second annual Harvest Fest pumpkin race. It's going to be kind of a carnival type thing that we did in the parking lot of Sam's Club last year. We had a really great turnout. It's scheduled for October the 27th. It's on a Friday. The kids, we just give the kids an opportunity to come out, an alternative to going trick-or-treating. And we have the businesses come out and they pass out the candy to the kids. And like I said, giving an alternative to the kids going door to door. So that's all I have from the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next up is item number 8A1, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, this is an informational presentation that's going to be conducted by the City Clerk regarding the consolidation of municipal elections pursuant to Senate Bills 415 and 568. There's no council action required. This is only for informational purposes. This item will be coming back to the City Council at a later date.
Okay.
Madam Mayor and City Council, this presentation provides an overview of Senate Bill 415 regarding changing the dates of the municipal elections from odd-numbered to even-numbered statewide and/or presidential election dates, and to coincide with the Los Angeles County Registrar Recorder's administering of elections. It discusses the bill's requirements and options on how the city may comply with the bill's provisions. Background. The California Voter Participation Rights Act, which is Senate Bill 415, was passed on September 1st, 2015. The goal of SB 415 is to increase voter turnout rates for municipal elections, which tend to be lower when such elections are not held with statewide and/or presidential elections. Because our city has experienced a low voter turnout in past elections, less than 25%, new legislation prohibits a local government from holding an election on any date other than a statewide and/or presidential election date. The new law will go into effect on January 1st, 2018. Therefore, an ordinance adopting a plan to consolidate its election will need to be adopted by December 31st, 2017. SB 415's deadline for consolidation is November 8th, 2022. So you have some options. Option number 1, consolidating starting in November 2018. The city would reduce the terms that are currently in place by 4 months so that they serve 3 years, 8 months term. This is legally permissible pursuant to Election Code 10403.5b. Election Code 10403.5b requires that no term of office shall be increased or decreased by more than 12 months, which limits the city's ability to comply with SB 415. However, the city's regular election is in March of odd years, which means that any term increase to June or November of the following even year exceeds the 12-month gap imposed by this election code. The city would hold its first consolidated election conducted by the LA County Registrar Recorder's Office with a statewide and/or presidential elections scheduled for that date. Under this option, the offices for which council members were elected in 2015 would be up for election in November 2018. The offices for which mayor, council members, city clerk, and city treasurer were elected in 2017 would be up for election in November 2020. Both of these elections would meet SB 415's November 2022 deadline for consolidation, and you see that repeated in the box. Option number 2 would be consolidation starting in November 2022. The city could conduct standalone elections in March 2019 and 2021 as planned, which would cost approximately $70,000 for each election, and reduce the terms of those elected in the 2019 and 2021 elections by 4 months, so that they serve a 3-year, 8-month term. This is also legally permissible pursuant to Election Code 10403.5b. The city would hold its first consolidated election conducted by the LA County Registrar Recorder's Office with a statewide and/or presidential election scheduled for that date. Under this option, the offices for which council members elected in 2019 would be up for election in November 2022. The offices for which mayor, council members, city clerk, and city treasurer elected in 2021 would be up for election in November 2024. Both of these elections would meet SB 415's November 2022 deadline for consolidation, shown in the box below. Option number 3, June consolidation. The city could conduct standalone elections in March 2019 and 2021 as planned, which would cost approximately $70,000 for each election, and reduce the term of those elected in the 2019 and 2021 elections by 9 months, so that they would serve 3-year, 3-month terms. This is also legally permissible pursuant to the Election Code 10403.5b. The city would hold its first consolidated election conducted by the LA County Registrar Recorder's Office with the statewide and/or presidential primaries scheduled for that date. Under this option, the offices for which council members elected in 2019 would be up for election in June 2022. The offices for which mayor, council members, city clerk, city treasurer elected in 2021 would be up for election in June 2024. Both of these elections would meet SB 415's November 2022 deadline for consolidation. The fiscal impact. On average, the city clerk's office has budgeted approximately $70,000 to conduct the municipal standalone election every other odd-numbered year in March. City staff has utilized this amount to account for supplies, postage, consulting services, poll worker expenses, election night expenses, and election materials. The change in future election dates, 2018 and 2020, or 2022 and 2024, would allow the LA County Recorder Office to, due to this, let me just go back. It would allow their office to conduct the city's election. Our March 2017 election was conducted by them as well, due to the homeless measure. The final cost for the election was approximately $44,568, which was on the low end, but was significantly lower than the $70,000 allocated to conduct a municipal standalone election. If the city were to implement SB 415 by shortening the current terms of office, the city would save up to $25,000 per election. However, there is a Senate Bill 568. This bill is being reviewed. It's called Senate Bill 568, also known as the Prime Time Primary Act, that would change the date of the statewide primary elections from June to March even years. This bill would allow the city or cities to, with March odd year elections, to change to even years to comply with Senate Bill 415 within the 12-month limit per Election Code Section 10403.5b. So council terms would not have to be reduced. They would be extended by 1 year. As currently written, beginning in 2019, this bill would establish the date in March as the third Tuesday after the third Monday, but the author has agreed to amend it to the first Tuesday after the first Monday in March. Under this option, the offices for which council members elected in 2015 would be extended by 1 year, and would be up for election in March 2020. The offices for which mayor, council members, city clerk, and city treasurer elected in 2017 would also be extended by 1 year and would be up for election in March 2022, which would allow us to consolidate with the LA County Registrar Recorder's Office. So SB 568 is currently in the Assembly and will head back to the Senate once the amendment is introduced. Our governor will have this bill on his desk by the end of September. The deadline to either approve or veto the bill is October 15th, 2017. And what I'd like to do at this time is to introduce and ask to come up to the podium Mr. Alex Olvera, who's the Division Manager of Election Information and Preparation for the LA Registrar Recorder and County Clerk's Office. And he can address and answer any questions or concerns that you may have. Okay?
Yes, good evening, Council of Gardena. I am here to address any questions you might have regarding the two bills before you and the future of your election administration.
Okay. Are there any questions? Councilmember, I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Medina?
Thank you, Mayor Serta. With regards to both Bills 415 and Bills 568, would the cost of the election be the same? It seems like there's a theme here about $70,000 every election. Is that the same with regards to 568 since it's extended by 9 months?
There will still be a cost savings whenever you consolidate an election, let's say a city election, which has historically been a standalone event. When it's consolidated, there's overlap with other jurisdictions. You might overlap with a community college, a school district, a water board, a park, a rec, a library, and so you experience a bit of a price reduction when you overlap with the same geography and the same voter registration base. So you will still see a reduction in cost, whether you target the June primary or soon to be hopefully the March primary or the November general. So that there will be a cost savings.
So the answer is yes, it would cost $70,000 approximately.
Actually, it would cost less.
$70,000 would be our cost.
That is correct.
Okay, are there any other questions? Councilmember Cascanian?
Thank you. Question regarding the 415 and 568. And Madam City Clerk, she mentioned that the governor might veto this, right?
It would go to his desk for either approval or veto.
Well,
So yeah, so we don't know.
I see.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why the governor will veto this? I mean, is there any reason for it, or?
The sense that we all have throughout the state, because I know all the counties and many of the political subdivisions are looking at this very carefully. And the sense is that it will be approved. It was introduced, of course, earlier in the year. It had some additional language, which is no longer present in the bill, and I believe that will encourage the bill to move forward and be approved by the governor, become law effective January of next year for the 2020 cycle. The sense has always been that California, because it has its primary election so late in the calendar year, that it's not a big player in the national landscape of politics. So the attempt from the state legislature has always been, let's try to make California a bigger impact on elections throughout the country. And one way to do that is to have the election earlier in the year. I know we're all familiar with several states in the country that have their elections as early as January. They have their presidential primary that early. And so the language earlier in the year was to have the election either in March or as long as the governor alerted the whole state 8 months in advance, it could have taken place any time between January 1st and March. That has since been taken out, and it has fixed the date to the first Tuesday in March. That was the latest amendment last month. And I think with that language, there's a real possibility that it will be approved by the governor, not vetoed.
Okay, thank you.
I could just add some background. The bill is on its third reading, and there's approximately 3 days left in the legislative cycle. So a decision would have to be made by Friday for this legislative cycle on that bill.
One more question.
Okay, Councilmember Catania.
Sorry, one more question.
Yes.
So as far as the city-wise, we have to choose which Senate bill we're going to follow, or the governor is going to say, this is it, 415 or 568?
If these bills are approved,
Both?
yes, if
Okay.
both bills are approved. Well, Senate Bill 415 was approved in 2015.
Yes.
So that's already a statute. That's election law. If this bill gets approved, it will provide another option to your city. It will create more options for you, and I believe it was the last option that City Clerk Semenza presented to you.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Henderson?
That's what I was going to explain. Thank you, Madam Mayor, was that basically we're waiting till Friday to see if option 4 is then on the table. So my question was already answered, so thank you.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Medina?
You brought up an interesting point, which is that I'm assuming it's 568 that will be effective 2020, right?
Yes.
Yes,
the bill,
but not 415.
415 was
I
went into
got that,
effect
but I just wanted to hear him say that effective 2020,
That is
468 will be effective. So the voting on the first 3, which on 415 would be up to us, not necessarily 468, because the option won't be applicable until 2020, correct?
Yes, 568 is going to be, whether it's approved or not, we'll see, but it would not, that first election moving to March would not be until 2020. It's not, in case you're concerned, in 2018.
So realistically, we're looking at the first 3 of 415.
If you're interested or planning on making a decision immediately, 568 has not been approved.
Yeah,
So
I just
those
want to
options
get
are-
that clear so everybody understands that we don't have to vote on 68 or 415, and we'll obviously have choices, but one of them won't be effective until 2020.
That is correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have something I'd like to bring up. Is that true that the governor has until October 15th to make his final decision?
That is the general deadline, but I believe the city manager has given a more precise date.
Mr. City Manager, you said a more precise date?
Yeah, nothing can go in front of the governor unless it's already been approved by the legislature, and the legislature has 3 days left in its cycle. That does not mean that they cannot table this. The legislative cycle is 2 years, so it could move on to a 2-year bill next year. We will not be presenting anything to the city council that has not already been decided, so we do have some time before, and we'll know whether 568 passed.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? If not, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this here is just basically for our review information. You don't need any direction at this time. Is that correct?
No, just for your information only.
For our information. Okay, thank you. So next up is item number 8A2. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor, Serta, and members of City Council, this is an introduction of ordinance number 1780, amending Chapter 2.60 of Title II of the Gardena Municipal Code pertaining to purchasing system. Just as a way of background, the city earlier this year reissued its purchasing policy and established a new set of internal controls relative to purchases made by the city. The City Council would need to introduce ordinance number 1718 and hold a second meeting on September 26th. What is proposed here is an amendment to increase the city manager's approval limit for purchases from $25,000 to $30,000. This limit of $25,000 has been in effect for more than 15 years, and as you imagine, cost for doing business has considerably gone up since then. This proposal was discussed and recommended at the last Finance Committee meeting. We did a survey of 79 cities in California, where the sampling indicated that an average population around our size, the city manager approval limit is 42,000. We further concentrated the sampling closest to Gardena, and the sampling was reduced to cities with populations between 50 and 70, where overall the average approval limit for the city manager is 50,000. Benefits of having higher spending limits is essentially being able to purchase more items without not having to go to council for every additional item. These could include contracts, vehicle purchases, other equipment purchases. We estimate between 20 to 25 items would not have to come each year in front of the council relative to this increase, but still keep us well below the industry average. So at this point, the council action required is to introduce ordinance number 1780.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this item here? Any member of the council have any questions or comments? If not, then I'm looking for an introduction of this item.
So moved.
Second.
No, we just need an introduction only. So, Mayor Pro Tem, you make the introduction? Okay, so Madam City Clerk, that's noted. Okay, great, thank you. Next up is item number 8A3.
Mayor Serta, members of City Council, this is an item that's going to be for the creation and formation of an Economic Development Advisory Committee Task Force by merging the current Economic Development Committee, EDC, and the current Gardena Business Advisory Council, GBAC, into one advisory committee. The EDC has 5 board members. It's formed to enhance the quality of life in Gardena through promotion of a strong local economy that offered growing employment and business opportunities. GBAC is an 11-member board, 5 appointed and 6 at large, formed to review and work with city staff regarding city business practices and programs in coordination with local businesses. Both groups have slightly different goals, but have an overall focus on improving relationships between the city and the business community. Creating one committee will focus economic development efforts and stage a better flow of ideas among the members. We are currently involved in a comprehensive economic development strategic plan for our city that is being championed by the General Services Division along with assistance with the Administrative Services Division. By merging both the task force, we can leverage both of the opportunities and ideas that both members of both groups have. I did reach out to the majority of the members of both. They were highly supportive of it because most of them felt they were both doing the similar items. What would occur if this merger would occur, we would have the task force developed where each council member would get 2 appointees and 1 by the city manager, just to make it an odd number to have 11 positions open. The committee would be tasked with finalizing and formalizing its name and then its scope of work and responsibilities for the city. I envision that this committee will be closely working in our strategic plan to do outreach in addition to what city staff does. At this point, the council action required is to approve the formation of the Economic Development Advisory Committee / Task Force.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments? Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chief, in regards to this this new task force coming together, because we're just going to throw 11 people in the room, are we going to develop some guidelines so they can figure out how to kind of facilitate themselves? And because they had 2 different charges, and now we're going to kind of merge it, but we may miss something when we do that merging because they had distinct roles and responsibilities. So how are they going to elect their leadership and so on and so forth?
Yeah, we'll do that in collaborative fashion. Some of the members actually sat on both. So there was crossover with EDC and GBAC membership. We will provide them with ideas, and let them set their scope of work, so to speak, relative to what the committee does. But more importantly, they have to be an important partner in our strategic plan and helping us develop our strategic plan and how we are marketing ourselves to business, how we are attracting business here, and how we're doing business-to-business transactions in Gardena, which is a very important part of our overall budget.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kaskanian?
Well, Councilmember Henderson asked my question already, so I get my answer. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Mayor Pro Tem Medina?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So out of the 12 participants that are on board now, we have to choose 11. Is that correct?
Yes, it would be my recommendation to really review the ones who are really currently on there. They have been participating. I don't know if there's necessarily a need for a lot of personnel changes, although there is a couple because they're no longer in Gardena. But the synergy created by bringing them both together, I think will be much more helpful than having them operate as 2 individual silos.
Well, that was the premise of my question, because there's 12 members currently active. There's a couple of vacancies that I see in there, and I also see that there's some people that are on both boards. So looking at it numerically, it seems that we would just make the transfer over and done with, because we have actually 11 members already there. It's just that one person is on both teams. So in essence, we have the same prerequisites about living in Gardena and all that?
Yeah, or business in Gardena.
Okay.
Also, just to mention, part of the process also is GBAC and EDC's had membership attendance problems because there's only small amounts in each both. So by bringing them together, most of the time we'll be able to have a quorum to have some official business done.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Well,
when are you going to need the selections?
I'll be reaching out to each of you for your selections. You were provided with the names that are currently on there, and we certainly can choose from them to start with.
Okay, I think that'd be a great idea because once we reach out to everyone, some people may be ready to retire versus others, might still want to stick on there again longer. So, any other questions?
If it's the direction of council, I can just retain all of the current members and have staff double check to ensure they're still want to participate and reach back to all of you with who is not.
Okay, so we have that option, or we can each appoint like we do other members on our other boards that we do. I don't know, how does the council feel about that?
I was going to say to give us our option to appoint our two, and then we'll take it from there.
You good with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, Councilmember, both of you guys okay with that? Each person appointing their own? Okay, I think we like that idea better. So,
Understood.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve this item here, or move forward with this item?
Second.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
He was first.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, a motion was made by Councilmember Tanaka and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Medina. Will you call the roll?
Councilmember Tanaka?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina?
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskanian?
Yes.
And Mayor Serta?
Yes. Next up is item number 8A4. Mr. City Manager.
Item 884 is approval of budget for the international travel by the City of Gardena official delegation to Ichikawa, Japan in celebration of the 55th anniversary of the Gardena-Ichikawa sister city relationship in an amount not to exceed $7,000. As you all know, the sister city of Ichikawa was recently here, and it is our turn to reciprocate and go back to visit them. Several council meetings ago, the City Council approved a new travel policy. This travel policy requires that international travel come in front of the City Council for approval. The amount I have mentioned will include airfare, some daily per diem, and possible miscellaneous expenditures as necessary. The hotel and all of these charges are only going to be paid for the delegation members, no other family members or any other members except for other staff. The fiscal impact is $7,000, and what we need is just council action to approve the travel for this official city delegation, which includes 4 city council members and the city attorney this time.
Okay. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments? Councilmember Kaskanian.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. 7,000 for all of us.
Yes, unless you're going to fly first class. I'm just kidding. No, okay. That's aggregate. It's aggregate.
I thought it's a city business. We fly business. No, I'm just kidding.
It's aggregate for all of the council. Which is we've got some really good deals on airline costs, so it is a very reasonable amount to have 5 delegation members travel.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments at this time? If not, can I get a motion to approve this item?
So move.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Medina and seconded by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Medina?
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskanian?
Yes.
Mayor Serta?
Yes. Next up is item number 8.5. Item number 8.5. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 885 is resolution number 6290, amending the City Council meeting agenda policy number 301. Staff recently reviewed the meeting agenda policy and determined changes were necessary to promote efficient and cooperative council-manager relationships. In my effort to try to ensure that all of your items are addressed and they're properly added to the council meeting with concurrence, the policy was changed, although it was actually only changed very slightly relative to the previous one. The changes really do is provide clear and effective direction to staff, allocate the use of city resources, ensure all council actions are properly recorded and attached upon. And as you noticed in the council agendas now, generally speaking under the city manager's report, I addressed the issues that were either requested to be placed on the agenda or had been given as council directives. There was also some grammar that was corrected, specifically some gender references to the mayor only being a mayor, so we know a male, so we know that's a little different now. So there's some other grammatical corrections that was made. So what's required is to adopt resolution number 6290.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments at this time? If not, can I get a motion to approve this item or adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Medina and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskanian.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8A6, and I believe we were going to continue that item.
Yeah, there are unresolved issues concerning this agenda item. Staff respectfully requests the City Council continue this item regarding the Gardena Sumps investigation until Tuesday, September 26th at the next regular City Council meeting.
Okay, thank you. And the next item now is item number 8B1. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of City Council, this is an acceptance of notice of completion for pedestrian safety project job number 918, sidewalk replacement job number 915, which was done by FS Contractors. The project removed and replaced approximately 8,100 feet of concrete sidewalk, 860 linear feet of curb and gutter, 41 street trees in 55 locations. The project also installed 41 new curb ramps in accordance with ADA requirements. Sufficient funds were appropriated by the City Council in the 2016-2017 capital improvement budget using Measure R funds and SB 821 funds. The budget amount was $390,000. The funding source, as I mentioned, was Measure R and SB 821. There was no general fund impact. What is required is to accept and order the recordation of notice of completion.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments at this time? If not, can I get a motion to approve the recordation of a notice here?
So moved.
Okay, Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Medina and a second by Councilmember Kaskanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8B2. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 8B2 is to approve the project improvement management program as an additional capital improvement project for fiscal year 2017-2018. Federal and state funding agencies require local agencies to have and maintain a pavement management program or a system used to identify existing street conditions and forecast recommendations depending on various funding availabilities. The city last updated its pavement management system in 2005, and at that time, the index was 85, which I want to add is exceptional and the best in this region. This survey is required every 3 years. The scope of work includes pavement condition evaluation, computer data entry, budget analysis and budget scenarios, software purchase and installation, training and technical support. This is just an additional program to be added to the capital improvement project itinerary for fiscal year 17 and 18. The total amount of fiscal impact is $40,000, but it will be paid by Proposition Local C return. What's required is to approve the pavement management program to ensure that we keep our streets in great condition.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the council members? Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chief, quick question in regards to that. Our PCI 85 is very, very high, but because of the work that Golden State Water has done, are they going to ding us for that in regards to when they do this in 3 years, or can we hold Golden State Water a little bit more accountable to get us make sure our 85 isn't impacted negatively?
That's an excellent question. You know, we do have moratoriums on some of the streets. So some of the work that Golden State Water did required them to really do the entire street over. Other streets who had not been repaved in a long period of time required less investment, you know, channeling in terms of the repairs, and then maybe a slurry, so they were not as extensive. I imagine that that may have an impact negatively on our PCI rating, but we will do our best to ensure that we do have a comprehensive plan to try to go back and re-slurry and do some of the corrections. We just could not hold them any more accountable to what's minimally required by law to fix the streets.
Wow.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? If not, can I get a motion to approve this item here?
Move.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Tanaka and second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll?
Councilmember Tanaka?
Yes.
You did second.
Sorry, the second was by Councilmember Kaskanian.
Okay. Councilmember Kaskanian?
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina?
Yes.
And Mayor Serta?
Yes. Next up is item number 8B3. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor, Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 8B3 is a public hearing. It was a call for review by Mayor Serta of the Commission action on the approval of the conditional use permit 8-17 to operate an indoor recreational center for children's bounce houses and party space per section 1846030 of the Gardena Municipal Code. On August 1st, 2017, Planning and Environmental Quality Commission made a motion to approve CUP 817 and directed staff to file a notice of exemption as an existing facilities project. Mayor Serta has called for the review, citing concerns relative to the business plan, employees, noise, and safety. What is required is to open the public hearing, receive testimony from the public and/or the business owner, and/or adopt resolution number 6286.
Okay, thank you. So this is a public hearing, so the hearing is now opened. Is the applicant here? Is it present? Applicant? Yes? If you'd like to come forward and speak.
Mayor Serta, member City Council staff, who is also responsible for this project, is also here, available for questions.
Okay, great, thank you. Just hit the button there, and if you could just state your name.
Hello, good evening. I feel nervous right now.
That's okay.
Sorry, ma'am.
That's okay.
My name is Aris Ortonio. Sorry.
Is there anything you'd like to say in regards to this project?
No, ma'am.
Okay, not at this time.
Just waiting for the approval, ma'am.
Okay. And I'm sorry, what was your name again, sir?
Aris Ortonio.
Antonio, okay. Okay, so you're the husband of Elisa?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have any questions? Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I looked at the questions in your report. Did you receive satisfaction in regards to the answers?
Yes, I was gonna speak
Okay.
to that in a
All
second.
right.
Are there any other questions from any member of the council? No? Okay. Just so you know, yes, I did call for the review. I did have several questions in regards to your hiring process as far as checking people out, as far as making sure they weren't, sex offenders and so on, and wanted the layout. And I appreciate the fact that you did answer all of those questions for me, and thank you, for doing that. And it is to my, satisfaction there. I did receive the letter that you sent asking for us to cancel this hearing. And just so you know, just to understand the process, whenever you request something like this and it involves a CUP, a conditional use permit, the first process is it has to go before the Planning Commission. And even though they can approve or deny it, if they approve it, we as a council still have the option if we would like to review this as well. So because there were still some unanswered questions in there, not that I had anything against your project, I just wanted some more answers to that. That's why I called for the review. So you did answer all the questions as far as, how the, the noise would be taken care of. There's not going to be any loud music. I think one of my other questions was in regards to when a parent comes in, making sure that they have the same stamp that their child does. So if they leave, the child doesn't leave with someone else. So you did answer all of that, and thank you for that. So if there's no other questions from my colleagues, I'm going to make a motion to approve your project. Is there anybody want to second that?
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, I made the motion to move forward with this and approve it, and it was second by Councilmember Tanaka. Mr. City Attorney, do you have something to say?
The actions required is just to adopt resolution number 6286.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which essentially approves the project.
Okay, to approve the project. Okay, let me close the hearing first. The hearing is now closed, and so we move forward. So we still need to vote on this, correct? Okay, Madam City Clerk, will you call for the roll, please?
Mayor Serta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
and Councilmember Kaskanian.
Yes.
Okay, sir, your project has been approved. Good luck with your business.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is item number 8B4, Mr. City Attorney. City Manager, sorry.
Mayor Serta, members of City Council, this is another public hearing. Call for review from Councilmember Kaskanian on the commission action on the approval of conditional use permit 7-17 to continue to operate an existing massage establishment per section 18.54.035 of the Gardena Municipal Code in a general commercial, actually C3 zone. Resolution number 6287, upholding the decision of the Planning and Environmental Commission to approve conditional use permit would be required or denied. On August 1st, 2017, the Planning and Environmental Quality Commission approved the resolution approving the conditional use permit to operate an existing foot massage establishment located at 1375 West Redondo Beach Boulevard. The business is looking to expand its current use to include full body massage. On August 21st, Councilman Kaskanian requested a call for a review of the Planning Commission's action, citing concerns relative to the expansion and number of massage rooms and the types of services provided by this massage establishment. Lucky Star Massage has been conducting business in Gardena since 2014. During this time, the business had not had any negative violations or arrests. The location will not expand from its current size of 1,095 square feet and will be limited to 6 rooms. So staff recommends that the City Council conduct a public hearing and adopt Resolution 6287.
Okay, thank you. So we're opening the public hearing at this time. Is the applicant here? If you want to come forward, if you have anything you'd like to offer. If you could just please state your name before speaking.
My name is Wei Wei Xu.
Okay.
My name is Chen Zhang Wei.
Okay.
My name is Ming Hao Liu. I'm just the family of them because their English is not very good, so I'm trying to help them to translate a little bit.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. And go ahead if you had something you had to say or.
My name is Wei Wei Xu, and my husband's name is Yan Zhang Wei. Own the Lucky Star Foot Massage. Address is 1375 West Redondo Beach Boulevard, Gardena, California 90247. We have been here in Gardena since 2014. Me and my husband are both masseurs. We are our license to do massage. We have 4 other employees who have their license. We do both foot and full body massage, and our customers really like our business. Today we brought letters from our customers saying how much they like our business. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the council members? Okay, Councilmember Henderson, you had a question for the chief?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In regards to the report that you put in here, Mr. City Manager, in your past life, what would determine the difference between being put on probation as a business and or closing that business. Because in some of these past cases, the past arrests were equivalent, but some were closed and some were put on probation. So what's that criteria?
Councilman Henderson, we've handled those violations in a number of different ways. We've entered into last chance agreements. We've entered into revocation procedures. We've taken in criminal action. So there's a variety of different ways. This establishment hasn't had any violations noted. You know, certainly, depending on the violation, the severity of the issue involved is what kind of direction we take.
Thanks.
Okay, Councilmember Tanaka.
So this is only a foot massage place during those times of investigation, correct?
That's correct, and they're expanding their use, which we've been much more robust in our inspections for the last probably 2 years relative to keeping some other massage places in line.
So I guess my question to the business owners is why now are we going from foot massages to full body? What was the causal factor in that?
So she said that so they have a lot of customer requires for the for the back massage and also for the head massage because of the whole, after 1 day work they want to relax also, not just the foot, also the body as well. So that's why they expand the foot massage to foot and body massage. And also they put the sign on the in the front door and also in their price menu saying that they do foot and body massage.
Okay. Any other questions? Councilmember Cuskinen, I know you called for the review. Do you have any additional questions?
Yes, I do. Madam.
Okay, go ahead.
Mayor Pro Tem has a question before.
Go ahead.
I
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Ms. Chu and Mr. Wei, the reason I called this item, I just want to make sure that the massage parlor or the establishment will not go in a different direction. I'm a very conservative person. I want to make sure in the city of Gardena doesn't go anything wrong. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what's going on in the massage parlors, inside the rooms or whatever. So I was just concerned about that. I did spoke with several members of Planning Commission. I spoke with the chair as well. And I spoke to a couple of your neighbors, business neighbors. And I followed up on it to make sure how you guys were running the business. Even though it's a foot massage right now, I don't know after it transfers to full body massage. I'm not saying anything wrong, but I just wanted to make sure that nothing goes wrong while the business it's going on. And I see that you were going to expand to 6 rooms. It was 6 rooms, right? 6 or 7 rooms. And my concern was if there was a door, or it's a curtain, or it's a door separating the rooms or the tables for the massage. I get all my answered questions. I mean, all my questions was answered. And everything looks okay with me. That's why, right now I would like to make a motion so we can adopt this resolution number 6287 to move on forward.
Okay, hold on one second. Go ahead, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Stewart, I just wanted to inform you, as a part of public hearing, I was just informed that there's another individual that would like to speak as well.
Okay, that's fine. Let me ask you a quick question. Periodically, we always check on all of our businesses, especially even the massage businesses. I mean, just random periodic checks to make sure things are going okay. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, and that's usually, I don't know, once a year, every 2 years, something like that?
Or complaint-based as well.
Okay. Okay, so hopefully that'll satisfy
It just
your
made me a little
questions.
nervous because we do have several massage parlors in the city. I just want to make sure, I don't want to hear somebody from neighboring city saying that, oh, let's go to Gardena, there is a massage parlor, and, we can have an hour or two, massage and have fun there, so.
We get it.
I would generally describe the massage parlor situation relative to enforcement of those who have been in compliance and have remained in compliance, have had no violations, and those who have repeatedly had violations.
Okay.
So we'd obviously encourage them not to have any violations.
Okay. My understanding is there's an additional person would like to speak as well. Sir, would you like to speak? If you could just state your name and go ahead, what you'd like to say.
My name is J.L. Silas, resident of Gardena. Customer of theirs almost from day one. My wife introduced me to massage about 2 years before we got married, probably one of the reasons we did. I've known them since then. They've been fantastic human beings. The thing I like about them is they remind me of when I was young and starting out. They're Americans, they have that, I'm going to do something with my life. I'm going to give something. I'm bringing something to this community. I've worked for CBS News for 24 years, and I've done stories on those kind of establishments that you were concerned about. This bears no resemblance at all. I don't like driving out of Gardena to go get a massage. This has been fantastic for me.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Greg Joe. I'm also a supporter. Me and my wife started going to them when they first opened back in 2014, and me and my wife go there together, and we've become friends with them, and we're a supporter with them. We've gone to other establishments in Gardena, and this by far has been the cleanest, most professional place that we go. So we've been going there for 3 years, and I came out here special to support them. My wife couldn't make it. She wanted to come too, but that's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Medina had a question.
No, it wasn't a question. It's a comment. My wife visits your establishment most of the time, and she has some friends of hers that we had to take to a podiatrist because they had ingrown toenails. And as a compliment to you, one of the reasons why my wife doesn't have ingrown toenails is because you take care of her feet. And she's very, very thankful for that because not only does she get her nails done, but also a foot massage. Thank you.
Okay, I think if there are no more questions, there was a motion made to move forward with this by Councilmember Kaskanian. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, go ahead. There was a, Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Kaskanian and a second by Councilmember Tanaka. Will you call the roll, please?
Okay. Councilmember Kaskanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, your item's been approved, and good luck
Thank you
with
so
your
much.
business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.
Okay, next up is item number 8B5, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor, Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item number 8B5 is a ratification of an agreement for the LARIA C5. And this is a participant agreement between the County of Los Angeles and participating entities within the Los Angeles region, Imagery Acquisition Consortium number 5. The project is a collective agreement between 45 cities, 20 county departments, 11 local, state, and federal agencies, and 7 educational institutions. The program produces high-quality digital aerial imagery to support decision-making within agencies. The program allows cities to use imaging data and associated tools to address the needs of the citizens more promptly by reducing fieldwork and expediting information collection efforts. The program lowers costs as more cities or agencies participate, and the savings are passed back to us. The system is used by a variety of city departments, including planning, building, the business license, code enforcement, the police department, and public works. for an entity our size, trying to have our own imaging system would be cost prohibitive. By going into this consortium, we were able to leverage the aerial imagery with all the associated tools at a much reduced cost. The general fund impact is about $25,983 over the course of 3 years, or $8,661 annually. What's required is to ratify the agreement with LARIA C5.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chief, in regards to this arrangement, will they charge us every time we request aerial data for any analysis that we want to do or anything like that? Or is it because we're members or we're going to agree to this that we can just always request aerial data as things change and different things like that?
Yeah, they do constant updates on the aerial imagery, and it comes with a whole host of tools, measuring tools, you can overlay GIS mapping. There's a lot of different features to this, so it has been very helpful.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Medina?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So is this a 3-year contract that's going to be renewable at our option?
Yes, we would bring it back to the council at the end of 3 years for a renewal, not automatically renew it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions? I have a question. I believe it's on page 11 where they refer, and I guess it's called LARAC. Is that how you pronounce it? Okay, LARAC. So we're looking at going to LARAC 5, and we had, I guess, the 4th series before. So I guess every few years they keep coming out with a new one. So we're getting it in its 5th level now. Is that my understanding? Or?
Yeah, it's 5th iteration.
The 5th generation. Okay, I see. Because at first I wasn't quite understanding what 1, 2, 3. And these are the cities here. I think this is on, is this page 11? I'm sorry, page 7 here. So this is each city as they participated, the first series, the 2nd series, et cetera?
Yes, and as mentioned,
that's the charts with the X's on it.
Yeah, the more agencies are involved, the lower the cost is.
Okay, I see. So it looks like, I guess when it went to the 4th level, there more cities were participating in it, and the price went down for us as well?
Yes.
Okay, I see. It looks like it's a something that's been very useful to us in the past, and when I was looking at the analysis of it, as far as how it was helping us when people come to our community development department and how they could assist them. So I think this is going to be a great project for us to go to the next level with it. Is there a motion that someone would like to make to approve this item?
So moved.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Medina and a second by Councilmember Kaskinen. Will you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Medina?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskinen?
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka?
Yes.
Mayor Serta?
Yes. Next up is item number 8C1. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, on agenda item 8C1 is approval of the South Bay Regional Public Communications Authority contract for the purchase, development, and support of a new police computer-aided, what's called CAD, and a records management system, which is called RMS. In June 2014, RCC, I'm going to abbreviate that as SBR, PCA, approved a technology to upgrade and/or replace the existing Tiburon 2000 police and fire computer-aided dispatch records management system, jail management system, and other associated interfaces. Tiburon, the system that we currently have has reached its service life and is no longer being maintained by the service provider. Therefore, we needed to replace with new technology. As you can imagine, from 2000 to 2017, the technology has significantly increased. In May 2016, after a pretty extensive competitive bid process, RCC selected Mark 43 as its vendor. Mark 43 proved to be the best fit for the consortium overall in the areas of records management, technical support, design, user interfacing, and specifically cost. Mark 43 is a new company that's come into this marketplace and is kind of sort of revolutionizing the industry. We will be one of the first CAD RMS systems, so as a result, we got a significant savings in terms of the cost because they can obviously use this as a tool to market themselves to other cities. On February 14, 2017, the City of Hawthorne, the contractor administrator, received approval to execute a 3-year agreement with Mark 43 Software Systems and Sitcom, Inc., which is for project management costs, for 2 modules, CAD, Computer Aided Dispatch, and RMS Records Management System. After the 3rd year, the renewal is year-to-year. Total community project cost for the CAD and RMS system is $1.4 million. The next closest bid, I think, was close to 3 for the project. Gardena is responsible, based on our assessment on RCC, for 18.38% of the cost, based on a formula that we've been using for a long time relative to cost sharing at RCC, which includes, for example, the number of officers, the number of calls for service, those kind of things to come up with what our proportional share, which would be 18.38%. The general fund impact to the contractual services account is estimated to be $300,000, including contingencies for unanticipated costs. This probably will not be the first time that we hear this agenda item. It will come back forward as we move forward with more associated costs. But overall, it's been about a 2-year project trying to get this to fruition, and it's been an overall significant savings to all the members of RCC.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments at this time? Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. One quick comment and reminder in regards, in the spirit of transparency, moving forward, we want to make sure that we actually put the cost of the contract in the actual line item so when the public knows. But also when it comes back, if you can kind of give an analysis of what year 4s, 5, and 6, how we plan to renew, make sure that we budget for that as well. That's all.
Understood.
Okay, thank you. I have a quick question. What kind of unanticipated expenses, give me an idea of something like what, and maybe an amount that you're kind of guessing?
So because we're part of a consortium, the bills really go to Hawthorne first.
Okay.
And then based on features that we add or maybe take away, the cost could fluctuate. There are sort of menu options. You can design the system to be more robust than necessarily bidded on, but that would be a cost that would have to be burdened by the individual cities. We can't, none of the cities can do it alone. They all have to come to agreement, so it would be costs shared across all of the cities.
Okay, I see. Are there any other questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second. Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Tanaka and a second by myself. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Tanaka?
Yes.
Mayor Serta?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina?
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian?
Yes.
Okay. Next up is item number 8C2.
Quite a few agenda items tonight, so I'll try to get through these as quickly as possible. This is an annual issue that comes before the council. Agenda item 8C2 is a notification of eligibility for funding in the amount of $21,009 under the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant, or we refer to it as JAG, for fiscal year 2017 local solicitation. This is a formula grant based on a number of factors. In order to apply for the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant Program, the Bureau of Justice Assistance requires city councils to receive and file this notification of eligibility. JAG program assists state, local, and tribal efforts to prevent or reduce crime and violence. JAG funds may be used to enhance law enforcement programs in the areas of technical assistance, training, personnel, equipment, supplies, and contractual support. It is the intent of the police department to purchase tactical components to equip 12 rifles, entry weapons for the crime suppression unit, and special weapons and tactics teams. Accessories include suppressors, special lights with red dot illumination, specific lighting, and rail capacity totaling the ground amount. Updates will assist and to help officers prepare for active shooter situations, potential terrorism incidents, or incidents that involve heavily armed suspects. Also help us respond to critical incidents both within the city of Gardena and the county of Los Angeles. The funding is $21,009, but there's based on the bid, is there an additional $4566 that's not covered by the grant? That is the only general fund fiscal impact. Council action at this point is only to receive and file.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments at this time? Okay, Councilmember Henderson.
In regards to this item, with us receiving and filing, then it comes back for us to discussion, correct?
It would come back for approval.
Are there any other questions or comments? If not, then we're going to receive and file this item. Next up is item number 8C3. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 8C3 is authorization to purchase patrol vehicles from National Auto Fleet Group in the amount of $269,550.42 and expend build-out cost of $52,608. The police department needs to replace older vehicles that have reached the end of life due to age, mileage, general wear and tear, or maybe damage. Departments will purchase 8 2017 Ford Utility Police Interceptor all-wheel drive vehicles from the National Auto Fleet Group for a total cost of $269,550. The vehicles should arrive between 75 and 90 days after payment is made from the revolving equipment fund. All police vehicles require South Bay Regional Public Communications Authority to install equipment, which includes new wiring harnesses and a variety of other equipment. What we did this time to save a significant amount of costs is we are reusing a lot of the equipment from the older vehicles that we are decommissioning. From when we went from the Ford Crown Victoria to the Explorer, the equipment did not transfer over because it was obviously a different make and model of a car. We're going to try to leverage to use as much of the existing equipment, which saved us a significant amount of money to the tune of almost exceeding the amount that was going to cost for the purchase of the vehicles. So we are estimating $52,000 for build-out costs. We've added a small amount in there just to take up unanticipated situations that could occur, such as they remove a bracket, it may be broken, or something cannot be reusable. But this was an effort to try to minimize costs and still be able to replace our current fleet with the same or similar like vehicle. What's required is to approve the purchase and build-out costs.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments at this time? Councilmember Kaskanian.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, how often we replace these vehicles? How many miles we drive on each vehicle?
So we're on a cycle of replacing. We generally have done 8 vehicles per year. By the time they usually reach their replacement cycle, they're in the 65 to 75,000 mile range. We have done a significant improvements in our fleet over the last several years. The issue with police vehicles is not the actual mileage; it's the amount of idling time and how hard they're driven. So although it doesn't sound like a lot of miles, it is pretty hard on the vehicles with the cooling, the electrical, the brakes, etc.
So there is a cycle that we have to replace. Time cycle, the vehicles must be replaced no matter how many miles driven.
Well, ideally, you should have a fleet replacement program that we have been managing for a number of years. There had been times in the past where the finances were great for the city, where we really overly extended probably the vehicle's replacement schedule. That's a policy decision that the city council has to make, depending on how well the fiscal year budget looks. But at this point, we have significant purchasing power on this, and it's a good effort to have our vehicle fleet replaced on a timely basis.
And do we know how much money are we saving recycling some of the equipment to transferring?
It went from the difference of we're asking for about $52,000, I believe, for build-out costs.
Yeah, 52,600.
Each new car, if we used all new equipment, could cost up to $40,000 additional. So okay. It's a significant savings.
I see. Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Tanaka.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We used to run them until the wheels fell off, but that's a different story. There was a, just to make sure, there was an issue with the carbon coming into the cabin of the vehicle, guys falling asleep and stuff, so that problem is no longer exists, correct?
The current new models do not have that problem. There's been no reported problems. The models that we had before, we did install carbon monoxide detectors, although we've not had any positive, alarms on those.
Okay, no other questions? If not, can I get a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Cascanian and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Medina. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8D1. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor, Serta, members of City Council, item 8D1 is authorize award of a 5-year preventative maintenance and repair services contract for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems to Honeywell Building Solutions, the amount of $510,745.32. Request for proposals released on July 6, 2017, with a deadline of August 8, 2017. 2 proposals were received for the annual service contract. Honeywell's bid, that was $98,144 per year, and ACO Engineering Systems was $198,850. The 5-year agreement ensures a structured preventative maintenance schedule, critical emergency 2-hour response times, internet-based applications to review service requests and details, and replacement of serviceable components of the system. Honeywell has serviced the city's HVAC system since 1991 and has worked with numerous municipalities and government agencies. They have all the necessary experience and certifications to meet the city's system. In addition, they are subject matter experts in our HVAC system, and they've had to actually construct and design special parts to meet our antiquated system. So they are definitely the most familiar, which is probably reflected on why their bid was lower. The fiscal year impact was $98,144 with an annual 2% flat rate increase, which we were able to negotiate down from 3%. The 5-year contract totals $510,745.32. Required is authorized the award and execution of a 5-year contract.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments at this time? If not, can I get a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Medina and a second by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Mayor Pro
Cascanian.
Tem Medina.
Okay.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
And Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8E1. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, this is a memorandum of understanding between the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, or Metro, and the City of Gardena for Measure M 20% Transit Operation Funds for a 10-year term beginning July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2027. LA County voters passed Measure M in November of 2016, establishing a 0.5% sales tax for the purposes of improving transportation and easing traffic congestion. 20% of the revenues are designated for this purpose and allotted to eligible LA County municipal bus operators, which includes G-Trans. The funding agreement provides for an annual distribution of funds to G-Trans over a 10-year period. Each year, G-Trans is required to submit an invoice with required eligible project documentation to Metro in order to receive the allocation. G-Trans intends to use these funds to support and enhance its transit service. The fiscal impact by G-Trans is to receive $1.976 million in Measure M 20% transit operation funds to be used to support and enhance its transit services. There is no impact to the general fund. What is required by council is to authorize execution of the MOU by and between the Los Angeles County Transportation Authority and the City of Gardena for Measure M 20% operation funds.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments at this time? If not, can I get a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding?
So moved.
I'm sorry, where did it?
What do you choose?
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Tanaka and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Medina. Will you call the roll?
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8E2. Mr. City Manager.
Agenda, Mayor Serta, members of City Council, agenda item 8E2 is a resolution authorizing the Director of Transportation to apply for fiscal year 16-17 Proposition 1B Transit Security Funds. California voters approved Proposition 1B infrastructure bond measure. The state legislature has funds in fiscal year 16-17 for the California Transit Assistance Fund for the purpose of financing Transit Security Grant Program, or CTSGB. Funds have been allocated to the city as a municipal transit operator by the state controller for fiscal year 16-17 in the amount of $61,386. G-Trans will use these funds towards its Intelligent Transportation System project. This consists of an integrated computer automated dispatching, as I mentioned before, CAD, and an automated vehicle location solution, which allow them to be able to dispatch and track their buses throughout their lines. Also included is a capability for the future real-time passenger information system and transit signal prioritization. The California Governor's Office of Emergency Services requires the annual adoption of a resolution designated an authorized official to act on the city's behalf in obtaining financial assistance from Cal OES under this program. The fiscal impact to the city for fiscal year 2017 is that G-Trans is eligible to receive $61,386 in CTSGB funding for its CAD/AVL project. There is no impact to the general fund. Council action required is adopt the attached resolution authorizing the Director of Transportation to take the necessary steps and actions for the purposes of obtaining financial assistance from the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services for Prop 1B money.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments at this time? If not, can I get a motion to approve this item?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Medina and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Medina?
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian?
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8E3. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, last but not least is an approved award of a contract to Tom's Truck Center, North County, LLC for gasoline hybrid remanufactured transit bus engines. G-Trans currently purchases remanufactured bus engines on an as-needed basis and an average cost of $3,600 per engine. G-Trans has a fleet of 52 gasoline/hybrid buses. The replacement average is 15 engines per year. In order to minimize costs and ensure availability of reconditioned replacement engines, G-Trans has opted to seek a 2-year contract with 3 one-year options. These options will ensure flexibility to purchase only what is needed during a particular year. Contracts include an option to extend the agreement on an annual basis for up to 3 years for a total of 5 years. Estimated contract value is $290,912, including sales tax. In July 5th, 2017, the IFB was sent to 7 potential bidders and advertised for solicitation. G-Trans received only 1 responsive bid from Tom's Truck Center, North County, LLC. Fiscal impact, G-Trans has existing federal, state, and local funds available for the purchase of gasoline hybrid remanufactured bus engines. Staff will seek additional discretionary federal, state, and local funding for future engine needs. There's no impact to the general fund. What is required is approve the contract of a 2-year fixed contract to Tom's Truck Center, North County, LLC, located in Garden Grove for the purchase of gasoline hybrid remanufactured bus engines.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments at this time? Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chief, one question in regards to this. Because we only had 7 respondents to the RFPs or the IFBs, where do we advertise this opportunity? So in the future, when we want to get a broader pool of competitors, where can they go look?
I'll ask the Transportation Director to provide information on where they advertise their bids.
Good evening, Mayor and honorable council members. So we sent directly to 7 bidders, or so 7 agencies, like South Bay Ford, Puente Hills Ford. Those were all the different 7 vendors that we've been using over the last couple of years. Specifically, we advertise in the Daily Breeze, which was one of the first newspapers we put. We go on Transit Talent, which is also a big transit nationwide hub for bids. There's a whole section of RFPs listed on anything that has to do with transit. So fuel, buses, anything, we did that. So those are the 2 biggest ones. And again, the Daily Breeze was the local newspaper, along with posted on our website.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Okay, there was a motion made by Councilmember Henderson and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Medina. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskanian.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, next up is item number 9B, council directives. Does any member of the council have any directives at this time? Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. More like a couple questions in regards for city staff. Do we have a listing of our fleet of vehicles with their original purchase date so we can kind of understand what our schedule of replacement is going to be for all our vehicles citywide?
Yes, we can provide that information to you.
Thank you. And 2 other items. The other one in regards to the Rosecrans corridor, as we develop this economic development committee, we probably all need a refresher into the zoning and the planning and the CUPs being used in the Rosecrans corridor. So maybe a small presentation on that, just to kind of bring us all up to speed, because I think I've forgotten, a few of us have forgotten as we move forward in our economic development. And the other item would be, I would like to see is, because we're getting new police vehicles and we're going to upgrade our weapons and everything, I think we also need to work on the other side of the equation and talk about what we've done for our community policing initiatives. So, nobody wants the North Hollywood situation here in Gardena, as well as a terrorist attack, but we also don't want a Ferguson-type environment where we're over-militarized in our policing. So we just want to make sure that the community understands that we're also looking at the community policing aspects and initiatives, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Did you want to comment? Okay, Councilmember Henderson?
Kaskanian.
Kaskanian, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Actually, I have a question too. There is not a directive. One of my question is, I received a few phone calls and I met a couple of our residents during National Day Out and Coffee with the Cops. They were inquiring regarding since we were talking about the bus situation, they were inquiring, they were elderly people, they don't have an access to a computer, or they don't know how to operate computer. Their question was how they can obtain the bus routes. Since it's been changed, they said that the routing was changed. I don't know if it's true or not, I have no idea. But is there any way that the citizens of Gardena come to the city hall, or they can go to the, the G-Trans to obtain the routing on a piece of paper or like a brochure or something?
Yeah, the route maps are available throughout City Hall. I think they're in the police department. I believe they're also in recreation. So yeah, they do have more than just online or app related bus maps for the routes. So I mean, they're all around City Hall, but we can certainly provide those to anyone who needs them.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Are there any other directives?
I don't have directives, but I was just, because I promised them, their elderlies, that, I will find out, I'll get back to them. So
okay.
Just want to make sure about that.
Mayor, just as a point of reference, if when we get directives, you do need a second from another council member. So we have 3 directives: 1, to provide a fleet roster; 2, update on the Rosecrans corridor and the zoning overlay, and maybe some also economic development opportunities there, and then a review and a presentation on the community policing initiatives.
Can we, once all the directives are made at that time, can we get a second, one person can second it for all of them?
Yes.
Okay, well, I have a couple of them before we get to that point. Is everybody else, any others? Okay, 2 things I'd like to just get some follow-up on. Number 1, it was in response to during oral communication, the people that came forward in regards to the parking district, I'd like to get some more information in regards to, I wasn't at that community meeting, but if a report could be prepared, I think for myself and the other members of the council, as far as if there were employees there actually in uniform, if they were testifying, just like some clarity on that.
Mayor, I'm going to cover that in
You're
my
going to cover
report.
that? Okay. And then one other thing as well, too, that was brought up during that. If for some reason there were people who were told where, people who were on a petition, where they lived, I'm curious to know what kind of procedures do we have here that we would give out information like that. So I don't know if your report will, answer that question, but I don't know how anybody would know where a person who signed a petition would live for them to be confronted by people. So that's kind of worries me a little bit that maybe something internal may have gotten out, because people should not kind of feel the repercussion of this because they signed a petition here. So that's part of my first directive. The second one would be, I know we're all planning to go to Ichikawa, Japan in October, but one of the things that was of real concern for me was that everybody on the council wanted to go, and we all have that right to go. But I think in the future, when there are trips like this that come up, there needs to be a policy in place that maybe 2 members of council can go at one time, not the entire council. I just think, for the good of the city, it just would be better that we still have a majority back here. So I would like to add that as a directive here. And I do know at one time Councilmember Tanaka did want to go on the trip, but because I did have some concerns about that, he chose to stay back. And thank you for doing that, because I was considering myself not going on this trip as well because everybody wanted to go. And I just thought for the good of the city, it would have been better for me to stay back. But because, you did step back, I chose to go ahead and go. So I appreciate the fact that you took that into consideration for us. But in the future, moving forward, because there'll be other anniversaries, and I'm sure Watabampo will want us to go there as well, I just think it would be in our best interest. So that would be a directive as well. If I could get somebody to make a second to all the directives that we have just requested here, I'd appreciate it.
Second.
Can he second it, even though he made a couple of them?
It's not as formal. I just want to ensure that, everything that's going to be addressed, there's concurrence by at least one other member, so that's
Okay,
fine.
that's fine. Okay, so that's been seconded. Mr. City Manager, I believe you have some remarks in regards to the directives that were just made. Or I'm sorry, just from previously.
Yes, as earlier you stated, Mayor, that just to follow up at what comes in front of the City Council relative to oral communications or personal or directives that have been issued, I think it's important for us to circle back to publicly share what we have been done relative to that. I'll start first with the update on the Parking District and Traffic Committee. The meeting was held. Yes, there was a lot of issues, a lot of strong opinions. The committee did not take a position at this point. They are scheduled to meet again, just the staff tomorrow, to discuss other alternatives to try to find a solution that tries to address all of the needs. As a result of this situation, there were some complaints by community members as well as some council members regarding what is the policy regarding advocacy by employees, whether on duty specifically. I have drafted an advocacy policy for employees that was reviewed by the city attorney, has been sent out to all of the bargaining units. Tomorrow I will meet with GMEA on the policy, and once we get concurrence on the policy will be issued, which will establish reasonable guidelines to clearly state what is expected by our employees, what is allowed, what is not allowed, and who is allowed to take an official position on behalf of the city relative to anything coming before the city council, legislative, et cetera, so everyone understands their lane. There was a report in your package regarding Gardena Direct information. Councilman Henderson, I believe, requested how, and we're following up, and you can see there by that report the the benchmarks that we're using, we're doing a really good job, and our employees are doing an excellent job in responding to citizen requests using Gardena Direct, and we can provide that to you on a regular basis if you'd like. Inside your council package is also the Veterans Recognition Coin. It's a rendering. Please provide me your feedback, and we can make changes as necessary. So far, the feedback has been pretty positive relative to it. We plan on providing those coins. It's going to be 2 inches in diameter in a nice presentation case with a CD or a remembrance of their event here. There's an informational memo regarding illegal dumping and how it's coordinated between Public Works, the right-of-way crew, as well as the code enforcement. There's a informational memo there, and it's something that we provide every month. And I just want to highlight to you and to give you an idea of what developments are occurring, what's going on, and what is potentially in the works, so that you can forward and look and have potential questions to ask me or our staff relative to what's going on. Of note, there's been a 100,000 square foot warehouse that was finalized on 135th Street, just east of Western. Their plans have now been completed. They're doing a $7 million tenant improvement, and Airfare is moving in there, which is a supplier of food to the airline industry, which is a huge employer and a real asset to the commercial area in North Gardena. There's information there about the transfer station complaint and the quality of the conditions, air, the roadway, et cetera, and what we're doing. We are going to be meeting with them soon to discuss that and a number of other issues related to their operation of their business. There was an informational request by Councilman Henderson regarding small business contracting with the city. Gave us an opportunity to look at what gaps we had relative to working with our local small businesses in Gardena. Gardena First was an initiative that we started a long time ago. It's something that is very important, I think, and we are doing now is establishing a list of providers and service, whether it's contracting or equipment or other things that the city can have on file so that we can reach out to them for purchases. Those tax dollars come back to our city. There's a request about Senate Bill 649 on whether or not you guys would like to see us added to the agenda. I would report back, I think, relative to it passing or not. We still don't know if it's going to pass. What that is a measure that basically removes local control for cell phone towers. And if the council requests, I can bring back some information on that to the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need an answer right now? It
would be a directive.
I'm sorry?
This is a request, so it'd be a directive. You just have to, two of you would just say yes, do it.
Okay. I believe Councilmember Tanaka would like that, as well as Councilmember Henderson. Okay, so.
Thank you.
It's been
and then lastly, community choice aggregation. It's been an issue that's circling around the county. It's an important issue the city is going to have to come to terms with and take a position on it. I think it's important, just like we just had a presentation on the elections, we had it on marijuana, et cetera, to have a presentation, no action required by the city council, so everybody can understand what this means and how it would impact Gardena, and specifically have the county come here so you can ask them the questions that maybe community members, all of you have, relative to community choice aggregation. I have scheduled that, and we have a county representative for the September 26th council meeting. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so next up is council remarks. Councilmember Henderson, you're up first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll be real brief. Of course, Jazz Festival, since our last meeting, attended our Jazz Festival. I also been kind of working with South Bay COG and corresponding with them in regards to a broadband infrastructure study. What that study is looking to increase the technology within our South Bay cities and our infrastructure so we can look to start attracting more technology-based companies if we have faster broadband. That also works into the economic development if we so decide to, turn historic Gardena Boulevard into a promenade with outdoor cafes or something like that. That leads into that. I also, as was mentioned, working on SB 649, which is the cell tower issue in regards to local control of city governments controlling when and where cell towers can be placed within a community. So that's something I've been working with the League of California Cities. It will be a challenge because if this bill does pass, and it's looking like it may pass, local communities will not have control on where telecom companies can place their cell towers. So because of our quality of life issues and what we like to really keep our city as pristine as possible, we don't want cell towers on every corner, every light pole with 5G coming out and different things like that. So still working on that. Also worked with a few council folks in Long Beach in regards to Senate Bill 242, which is in relationship to providing better consumer protections for those that decide to install solar panels on their homes. There's always some fine print in a lot of those agreements, and a lot of homeowners aren't aware. So I've signed my name on support to that bill to let our legislators know that we want to make sure that there are greater consumer protections. Since our last meeting, I have also executed a town hall meeting at the Holly Park Homeowners Association meeting. It's always a fun time, a lot of great questions. The topic du jour was, of course, parking districts, and that will get resolved. I did commit that the council will work with city staff to make sure we have a comprehensive plan in regards to parking districts. It was still kind of uncanny how it morphed from a small area to a larger area, but I think we'll get that worked out. Just this past Saturday, I had In the Parks with Mark meeting. I had a few folks coming out at Arthur Johnson Park. For those that have not frequented Arthur Johnson Park, it's a great, nice, quiet park and everything, not a lot going on, so that's some great duty, whoever's working there, so it's a great place to be and everything. Madam Mayor, so ends my report.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Councilmember Kaskanian.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since our last meeting, I attended the Jazz Festival as well. A lot of people, few thousand people. I just find out that it was a little over 6,000 people, if that's the correct number. Congratulations to Kelly and her staff, hats off. I met a lot of residents, neighboring cities residents, and I met 4 couples that they drove all the way from Lancaster. So I guess people they like us in Lancaster, or they like the Jazz Festival all the way from Lancaster, they drove. So thank you for those people that they attended, or they drove all the way from there. It was a great event, a lot of food, a lot of fun. So it was a successful event. Thank you very much, Kelly and the staff. On September the 6th, I attended the Gardena Library's librarian election, or the appointments. It was going on September? Installation, okay. Installation, and Ms. Watanabe, we missed you there. So it was a good event. There was some refreshments, and congratulations to everybody and to all volunteers too as well. And yesterday, September 11, I attended the memorial ceremony here in the city of Gardena on the Nakaoka Community Center lawn, front lawn. They tried to attack us, and they tried to put us down, but they missed it. We came stronger and we came united more. So I would like to adjourn this meeting to Madam Mayor, if it's possible, in the memory of the victims of September 9/11. And as far as the parking issues on the north side of Gardena, I received few letters from the community and some phone calls. They were concerned regarding the parking, and I promised them that I will get back to them, and I will get back to them with some sort of solution to find out how can we solve this matter. And that ends my report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next is Councilmember Tanaka.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended the Gardena Bone Festival and saw a lot of friends that I hadn't seen since high school, so that was a great event. Attended a fundraiser for the Gardena Valley Baptist Church for seminary students. Had a fun there. Met with Assemblyman Marisucci, who gave the owners of the Gardena Bowl Coffee Shop a really nice award. So that was kind of nice of him to come down. Kelly, thank you very much for you and your staff doing a great job at the Jazz Festival. Had a really great time. And it was nice to see Rod Lyons there that day, so thank you very much. Let's see. Gave blood to Children's Hospital LA. We helped, the Elks Lodge helped about 70 children through our donations. I met with council member of the 15th District, Joe Buscaino's field reps. They were going to try to be here tonight. The council members planning on having an event on the 30th of September at 186th Street School. Apparently he feels like he needs to at least address some of his constituents down there that don't know him. So he's going to have an event, so look out for flyers for that. It's going to be a block party from what I hear. It's supposed to be a nice event. Grandparents' Day was at the Elks, and we got to celebrate that. City Manager and Deputy Chief, congratulate your members of your Honor Guard. They did an outstanding job on 9/11, and I thank all the city employees, all those that came out to honor that day, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of it, because I'm very proud of our Honor Guard. They just they impress me every time they do something, so thank them for me. And I apologize for not being able to attend a couple of functions. I won't be here for Gardena Cleanup Day, as I'll be leaving on holiday at 6 tomorrow morning. That ends my report.
Okay, thank you. And for myself, since the last council meeting, I too attended the, I think it was the 15th Annual Jazz Festival, and I had a great time. All the entertainment was really great, but I especially enjoyed the main actor, Brian Culberson. He really gave a great performance out there, and in fact, I videotaped the entire thing. So if you want to watch it, you can go on my Facebook at Tasha Serta. But it was really great. So again, I'd like to commend the staff, Parks and Rec, for Kelly Fugio's staff for doing a great job in coordinating that and putting it together, along with our police department, and making sure that everything went great. So thank you again. Also, I attended an event called National Sophisticated Women's Empowerment Group, where I was asked to be one of the panelists as we were speaking to women to encourage them to be entrepreneurs and go back to school and find the job that supports their passion. So that event happened on Labor Day weekend, that Sunday, and it was here in the city of Gardena, and had a great time speaking with the ladies there. I too also attended the Friends of the Library installation meeting that was held here at Mamie Deer Library with Councilmember Kaskanian, and it was a good meeting. I also attended the Holly Park homeowners meeting with Councilmember Henderson as their main speaker, and I just want to say you did a great job. It's not easy being the speaker to a meeting like that when everybody's throwing questions at you, so again, I commend you for that. And for a couple of moments, I did attend the outdoor movie in the park here that we had at the Nakoka Center. It was really cold, so I had to leave. But again, I'd like to thank the Parks and Rec Department for doing a great job in showing movies that night. We still had a nice attendance out there. Despite how cold it was, people were just bundled up, and they enjoyed themselves, and it was really nice. And then on this past Sunday, I attended Gardena Torrance Baptist Church, as they had a ceremony recognizing first responders, and they had police officers there, firemen, and they gave presented awards to them for just their service and dedication. And, you know, oftentimes we forget that when an emergency happens, most of us are trying to get away from it. And when we call our fire personnel, our police officers, or EMT, they're running into danger. So, you know, we always want to just take a moment to thank them for their services here. And one of the things that I also learned while attending that event was that there were more, that was the most we've ever had of first responders that were killed at one time during the 9/11 attacks, which I did not know. So it was very surprising to hear that. And then on yesterday, I attended the 9/11 ceremony that was held here at the Nakoka quad area here as we recognize those who passed away in the 9/11 attacks as well. And I just kind of want to go back to one of the items I mentioned. When we attended Councilmember Keskin and I attended the Friends of the Libraries installation meeting. One of the things we learned that Mamie Deer Library is doing, which I was kind of surprised to hear, they have a program whereas if you owe a fine, let's just say you owe $20 in unpaid books, you have the opportunity to work off the fine by coming and reading to the kids. So if you read for 30 minutes, you get $2 off on your fee, which I thought was kind of interesting. So the whole purpose is to keep people coming back to the library. They don't want you to stop going because you have any library fees. So I thought it was important to share that with everyone because we want them to continue going there and reading. They also have a program where you can rent DVDs there. I believe it was like $1 for 2 days and $2 for an entire week, and they have a vast array of DVDs to rent. So that's something else to think about, renting your DVDs from Mamie Deer Library, and that helps support some of their ongoing projects that they have throughout the year. I believe they were up to in the thousands how much they had raised just in that DVD program. So they definitely want to let more, 7,000, they definitely want to let more people know about that project as well. And then the last thing I'd like to mention here is on the first Saturday of this past month here, I had my Mayor's Challenge Walk, and this is something that I'll be doing at every park. I'm sorry, every first Saturday of the month at 3 parks, and I have flyers all over City Hall here. And again, this is to encourage people to come out and walk with us, to just kind of get moving again. So it's every first Saturday. Raleigh Park will be there from 9 to 9:45, Freeman Park from 10 to 10:45, Johnson Park from 11 to 11:45. And if you have the opportunity to grab one of our flyers, on the back side, we put a little information on there about how walking helps your health overall, as far as helping reduce the risk of glaucoma, improves your blood pressure, limits colon cancer for women by 31%, et cetera. So please pick up one of the flyers that are in the city manager's office, and hopefully I'll get some over in the city clerk's office as well, too. So that ends my report, and Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since our last city council meeting, I had delivered 6 birthday cakes, which I do at the end of every month, to convalescent homes, and 6 of them are here in Gardena, and I was very proud that I got a certificate from the Rosecrans Convalescent Center for, didn't realize that we've been serving them for 12 years, delivering cakes every last Friday of the month. I also DJ'd at the Rotary Picnic for 5280 at the Seaside Lagoon from 5 until 9 p.m., and I really had a great time at the Jazz Festival. Culbertson was awesome. He played some medleys of horn sections from Kool and the Gang and some of the 1970s stuff that everybody likes to sing to. And I was like a dancing fool standing out there having a good time. And thank you, Kelly. Great event. I also, as a member of the Executive Board for the South Bay Council of Governments, we also spoke about that Councilman Henderson spoke about, which is broadband, and we're making a big effort to bring it to this whole South Bay area, all 16 cities that are in the South Bay, including the homelessness. There's some initiatives that the South Bay COG is working on to raise money and also work with PATH as well as our supervisors in downtown LA to provide shelter for homeless. I mean, permanent shelter, not just a box or a bag or something, but it's actually places that'll have a bedroom and a kitchen and so forth and so on. So we're working on that as well. And I also met with Assemblyman Elmer Asucci with regards to the MS4 litigation that we're going through. He provided all the mayors and all the city council members from the 16 areas here in Gardena, here in the South Bay, and we spoke about issues that need to be resolved regarding the MS4 plan, which is a $20 billion issue that we need to get rid of because our cities cannot afford to spend $20 billion in 20 years. And hopefully that'll be resolved. And I also attended the 911 Patriot Day, which was great. And congratulations to our police department. They did a great job. And I want to remind everyone about going to this Saturday. What time does cleanup start? 8 a.m. For those of you who want to help our city get cleaned up, we do this every year. We're starting at 8 a.m., not only at Recreation Park, but also at Johnson Park, and that'll go from 8 to 12 noon. So please come by with us. I'll make sure I wear my T-shirt and my shorts, and we'll clean up the city of Gardena, especially the one right there by Vermont and Gardena Boulevard, right by the train tracks. That's a whole lot of fun, because 20 minutes later, it'll be just like it was before. No, I'm just kidding. But we have a lot of fun cleaning up, and we have food and T-shirts and all kinds of fun to have as soon as all that's over with. I also attended the Labor Day Parade in San Pedro with Janice Hahn and Steve Bradford, our former city councilman, who is now our senator, and also Joe Buscaino, city councilman from LA. We had a lot of dignitaries that marched on behalf of labor, and I was very privileged to be allowed to participate in that parade. And I also attended the Metropolitan Transit Authority's Service Council, and I have to take my hats off to Mr. Ernie Crespo, who is our director of our bus lines here in Gardena. A lot of the grants that we've received here in the city of Gardena have been because of his due diligence. He's a member of the Service Council as well. He used to be with Metropolitan, and we're fortunate enough to have him on our staff and bring in monies to provide for our bus lines and keep everything updated. So again, Ernie, I thank you for your service and for bringing in money to the city of Gardena on behalf of G-Trans. And that is my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Cascani, you have an announcement?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I forgot to mention one more thing. I do apologize. September 23rd, we have our Food, Wine, and Cigar Festival, and it's a fundraising to our senior daycare and Alzheimer clinic. I do like to encourage everybody to attend. Please tell your neighbors, your friends, family members. It's a great event. It's a $20 a person. You come in, you'll have a cigar, you'll have a wine, you'll enjoy it. So it's a great event, and I'll encourage everybody to attend it. September 23rd starts at 12 noon at the City Hall. Thank you.
One more last thing.
Okay.
Since we're all forgetting stuff, I forgot that our band will be playing at 12. So if you want to come by and see a city councilman play his buns off playing music, we have old school for those of you like Marvin and Temps and that kind of old school. That's what we'll be playing from 12 to 1:15. And we have some great other entertainment. That we have the O Show, and we also have the Stones, what's his name, the guy with the white hair from England? Yeah, Rod Stewart, a tribute band for Rod Stewart and the Stones. So come on by, you'll have a great time. And for those of you who've never seen cigars made, they make them right there. Thank you.
Okay, so as it was said earlier, just a reminder, this coming Saturday is Keep Gardena Beautiful Day. It starts at 8 a.m., and I know we have flyers probably in the hallway here and on the website as well. And then on the 23rd, we have our Food, Wine, and Cigar Festival. And I know there are flyers floating around here as well for that, too. So, and it's on the website, too. So now we move on to our remembrances tonight. Tonight, we're going to adjourn in memory of Mrs. Carolyn Carey Mizukami Hiraga. She was 71 years old. She was a longtime resident of Gardena. We're also going to be adjourning in memory of Mrs. Fumi Fujimo. She was 91 years old, and she was the beloved mother of Mrs. Ellen Emerson Bartillett, who is a former administrative assistant with the City of Gardena Human Services Department, who retired in October of 2007 after 37 years of service. We're also going to be adjourning in memory of the almost 3,000 people who were killed during the 9/11 terrorist attacks. So tonight, before I close the meeting, I would like to invite all of you to please join us in our room here off to the side as we celebrate the birthday of Councilmember Tanaka. So
Can I make a comment? Real quick one?
A real quick one.
Okay, so on the Cigar and Wine Festival, if you really want to put that in your calendar, bring presents because it's my birthday.
No cigars.
Okay. So, yes, please join us for cake here off to the side here. So now we're going to join the Gardena City Council meeting to our next regularly scheduled City Council meeting, which will be held on Tuesday, September 26, 2017 at 7 p.m. We stand adjourned.